Hello and welcome to Take 5 with the Regional Chamber. I'm Kim Calvert. A highly anticipated new business has opened its doors in Girard. Pastimes Arcade has about 600 pinball machines and arcade games dating from the 1930s to today. Talia Hagler tells us Pastimes is part museum, part arcade, and a whole lot of fun.
Pastimes Arcade is a dream decades in the making. Rob Burke has been collecting pinball machines and other arcade games since the 1970s. Now he's making them available for the community to enjoy.
The idea of doing this goes back, it was the way in the back of my mind for years. And just the timing never seemed right. Everything in life is timing, as we all know. And the timing seemed right when this building became available. And me driving by it for 3 years or 2 years, and finally said, you know, maybe this is the place where I could fulfill this fantasy of mine of putting this dream museum arcade together.
As soon as you walk in here, you instantly understand that this is not just an arcade. It's a playable museum. The games here date as far back as the 1930s, with games representing every decade all the way up to today.
We have some really historic games in here. So the very first coin-operated pinball machine is actually made wiffle. We have it up here on the floor. It's made in Youngstown, just down the road. We have some banners along the side over here that are some historic firsts in games. The first game with flippers, because before they didn't have flippers, called Humpty Dumpty. We actually have that on the floor for the public to play. The very first video game ever made is called Computer Space. It's right by the front entrance. Again, those are things that I've only seen pictures of in personal collections because no one's silly enough to let the public actually play them except for us.
This isn't the only pinball arcade museum in the country, but Pastimes Arcade is unique because of the sheer number of games on the floor. In fact, this may be the largest arcade of its kind in the country.
There are museums throughout the U.S. Some, most of them have anywhere from 50 to 100. Some have several hundred. Some have 300 to 400. But I don't know any of them of this size. This is from a person that's lost their mind.
Pastimes also houses Holy Grail video game store owned by Rob's son, Jaden Burke. The store offers a wide variety of games and consoles for sale dating as far back as the 80s.
I have some original Xbox games, and I have PS1 games, PS2 games, PS3 games. Also have GameCube, which I have the console here, and some games for sale. I have the original Nintendo, so NES, Super NES, N64, but I'm also selling the consoles too. So I have many games, but also the various consoles that everyone can buy. They're tested, working, all cleaned up.
Holy Grail will be adding games and consoles as time goes on, and Pastimes will be rotating games on and off the floor over time as well. Rob has an additional 1,000 or so pinball machines and arcade games in storage, so you can come again and again and never be bored. For Take 5 with the Regional Chamber, I'm Talia Hagler.
Pastimes offers both unlimited play for the day as well as 3, 6, or 12-month memberships. For more on the arcade, visit pastimesarcade.com. And now to a business that's doing so well in the Valley, the owners decided to open a second location. Ron and Cecilia Bowler opened their second Nothing Bundt Cakes franchise store in Niles. Nothing Bundt Cakes offers delicious bundt cakes in a variety of sizes and flavors. Everything from little buntinis and buntlets to 8-inch, 10-inch, and tiered cakes. The couple moved here from Texas to open their first store in Boardman about 2 years ago, and they couldn't be more excited to bring their amazing cakes and unique selection of gifts to Trumbull County.
We were pleasantly surprised with all of the growth in Trumbull County. I mean, the commercial construction activity was very strong up here, new restaurants going in, new businesses. We had been up here multiple times doing various events, especially working with the chamber. The reception that we got from the community was so great, and with as active as the chamber is, they host a number of meetings up here, which was great for us to be able to get the exposure to the market, get familiarity with the area and the consumers, and so it really made it a much easier decision for us to be able to make the decision about where we needed to be, and this was it.
The Bowlers aren't sure yet if there will be a third Nothing Bundt Cakes in the Valley's future. But for now, make sure you check out either their new Niles location or their Boardman bakery. For more on their cakes, locations, and hours, visit nothingbutcakes.com. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Take 5, and we'll see you again next week. With the Regional Chamber, I'm Kim Calvert.
Take 5 with the Regional Chamber is produced by Mahoning Valley Productions, where we tell your stories.